So good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Just wanted to do a couple of things quickly. Number one, this is supposed to be an opportunity for you to have a chance to meet with the county team, to have them answer your questions. But it goes the other way as well, which is they want to learn from you about how the social enterprise certification program is working, where they might consider making any adjustments. So this is supposed to be the listening and the learning opportunity. So what we hope you will do is keep putting we collected the questions that you had with registration. We're optimistic that we're going to be able to cover a lot of those bases during the conversation. And if not, put it in the chat. And then you should know with the design of the next couple of almost an hour, they're going to be presenting some information, and then we're going to do 2 breakout groups. One for those of you that have participated in certification before to ask specific questions or make some suggestions, and one for those of you where it's a new opportunity and you want to learn more about how you should decide for yourselves if it's a good fit or not. So with that in mind, I think we have a poll question to get a sense of, Brian, if you could put that up, who's participated as a social enterprise, as a certified social enterprise? Have you been certified before? Yes or no?
If you're not able to see, right now we have about 32 people in the meeting. 24 have responded, and we have 25% answering yes, 63% answering no, and 13% answering I don't know.
All right, so we have a good mix, and we had a feeling that some of you would answer, I don't know, might have in the past. So thanks for that. I just want to let you guys all know on the nonprofit side that we are really happy to be able to bring the Department of Economic Opportunity team to you today, and our friends at ISD and our friends in the CEO's office. And you know, we've been working for the last couple of years on equitable contracting changes and practices and policies. And it's always so great to work with Jessica, who's up for this adventure to listen and to present. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Jessica, because I know they really don't want to hear from me anymore. They want to hear from you. And then you guys should know that Elizabeth Berger, who's also applied to be a social enterprise, has gone through the certification process. So we're going to make her available kind of midway. So good mix of people here. Jessica, I'm so glad you're here. And if you want to introduce the team from the county, I'll get out of the way.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Regina, for that too kind of an introduction. But I really work off of the energy over there at CNM, and it has really pushed the county into some very interesting questions and kind of observations about where we're at and where we need to go. So my name is Jessica. I'm the acting supervisor over the Office of Small Business. I oversee the programming for the county's 7 certification programs. And I also oversee our small business concierge program, which is our one-stop shop kind of for new businesses. And I do want to have my team introduce themselves. I believe we have, I'm going to hand it off to Melinda Nguyen on our team.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Melinda Nguyen. I am the Senior Business Development Counselor under Jessica's programs. So I help with certifications and small business concierge to help all the entrepreneurs that are looking to start their businesses, make sure their business is in compliance at the county level, and then hopefully also ready for county contracting. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Okay, and then I think we have Marissa on my team, and then we'll hand it off to our ISD partners as well.
Hi, my name is Marissa Lau. I'm also at Office of Small Business. I am a consumer and business affairs specialist. My main goal right now, transferring from DCBA, is with helping with certification with LSBE, DVBE, and CBE. I'm also working with the Small Business Commission in regards to as an advisory board for the county. Thank you for inviting me.
And then I think I saw Lorena somewhere over at our internal services department.
Hi, Jessica. Thank you. Yes, my name is Lorena Calderon. I'm with the Internal Services Department, the contracting division. My specific role here at ISD, we work in the policy county standards section. So we are the section within our contracting division that puts together a lot of the documents for the solicitation process. We work with policy and board motions and making sure that those get carried out and ensuring that the board, all of their requests are fulfilled. And so we've been doing a lot of work with the equity and county contracting, a lot of work with the CBOs. And so we're excited to be here and partner with this group. So again, we are here to assist as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Lorena. And then I think we have Jason from CEO. I'm sorry, I can't see the entire view right now. So.
Hi, good morning. Jason Tajima from the Chief Executive Office. And thank you very much, Jessica, for all the work you do, as well as Regina and all your team over there at the Center for Nonprofit Management. I remember working with CNM on a lot of these listening sessions, going back to a lot of the work for the Economic Recovery Task Force. And as mentioned, I've been helping work with the Equity and County Contracting Board motion put forth by the board. And we've been working very closely with DEO, our partners here at ISD, the Auditor Controller, and pretty much all of the departments that do contracting. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason. And thank you again, CNM, for hosting us today. And again, this is a listening session, so I promise I will be as brief as I can be about the actual information that I'm distributing so that we can sit back and also listen to all of the takeaways from our session today. And with that, Regina, can we get started?
Let's get started.
Love it.
Brian will make sure the slides are up. We'll walk through those.
Okay.
Can you see the slides?
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. So I am in the Department of Economic Opportunity. This is the newest department, recently established, and we had a launch as of January 21st of this year. This was a really long time coming strategy of the county overall to try and align all of our different economic programming into kind of one cohesive department with a mission to create better access to these programming and also improve our overall services to our small businesses, to our workforce agencies. So today, what we're here to talk about is really the Social Enterprise Certification Program, which has gone through a couple of different iterations and has found different homes and has now found a permanent home in DEO. Sorry, next slide. Perfect. And this is an overview of our Office of Small Business Services. So as we mentioned, we have a couple of representatives from our office today who work in concierge, who work on the small business counseling aspect. And we also offer a Procurement Technical Assistance Center, which is a federally funded program to provide one-on-one technical assistance for businesses that are interested in getting onboarded into different registration and certification platforms across other government agencies. Within our concierge and counseling, we really are hyper-focused on making sure that our businesses are starting here in LA County and that those businesses in LA County are growing into contract readiness and certification programs to help them kind of even the playing field of contracting processes. So this is the LA County Doing Business portal. This is really your entryway. This is the front door, if you will, for all things county contracting related. It has a ton of information on it, but namely, it gives you access to the registration portal, which is called WebVen. For quite a few of you here today, it sounds like you guys have already gone through the process of registration and potential certification as well. For those who are new, this is a really good resource. You cannot really engage the county, and the county can't find you until you enter into our system. So registration on the Doing Business portal is super important. It'll get you a vendor ID number, and we'll go into all those steps later. It also connects you to open solicitation information, which are those procurement opportunities directly. Those are a bunch of acronyms there. They're all just different pathways of how the county will buy something with a business or CBO. More often than not, you're going to see RFSQs as a process for service-based work. And then it also gives you access to things like awarded contracts, resource and contact information for procurement officers by department. It gives you access to our VSS portal, which is the vendor self-service portal. So all of these are housed at the doingbusiness.lacounty.gov portal. The one thing it doesn't have on this site is our certification. So I'm going to give you that link later. And we can go ahead and move on. Thank you. So this is the registration site. This is where you sign up to actually get assigned a vendor registration ID number, which is what you're going to use anytime that you're competitively bidding on a solicitation that is funded through the county. You need a taxpayer ID number or a social security number for your organization, your company main contact, and then a list of product and services. The way the county categorizes our product and services is through a commodity code system that is a little bit dated, if I'm being completely transparent here, because we can be. And essentially it's a numeric coding index that ties back to a keyword description. It's not always going to capture all of the dynamic work that our CBO population does. So you really want to be creative about how you are onboarding yourself into the platform using multiple commodity code descriptions. So you want to create a really robust list. This is like, old school looking up a book in the library by like the index card, right? Dewey Decimal System style. This is not Google. This is not intuitive the same way. So you really, again, want to spend some time when you're creating your platform. And then of course, don't be afraid to go back in and make edits, and you can connect to our department because our office provides one-on-one technical assistance that can assist you in creating a really robust and a solid profile. So that's the registration. And then there's contact information there as well. If you have any trouble with the registration, that's processed through our internal services department, and that is their contact info listed on the website. So these are our certification programs. For CBOs, the one that we're going to focus on and really hone in on today is the social enterprise, but there are a ton of programs that the county has, uplifted and added different participation types to make sure that we're being very inclusive in the process. So our community business enterprise program has kind of all of the different participation characteristics for our woman-owned, minority-owned, disadvantaged, LGBTQ business types, including our disabled veterans as well. Our preference program, which is the one that we're really going to focus in on, is where they share a benefit. And the benefit is that they have a couple of, they allow you to be more competitive in the bid pricing when you're at the point of submitting on a solicitation. There are utilization goals attached to 2 of these PPE types, which is the local small business enterprise and disabled veteran business enterprise programs. Those are exclusively for for-profit business types. The social enterprise allows for both nonprofit participation and for-profit participation in the certification program. It hasn't formally obtained a utilization goal attached to it, but it does have other benefits, and we're going to talk about some of those benefits today and expanding those benefits. So this is an overview of the preference program entity benefits. The 15% price bid preference is essentially a non-monetary reduction in what you have identified as your bottom line costs to be able to do a service. It's artificially lowered by up to 15% for certified vendors, and that's to make your price more competitive during the evaluation process. Eligibility for the simplified acquisition process. This is like a shortcut in buying. Anything that's under $25,000 that would normally have to go through a competitive solicitation process, meaning they have to get multiple quotes. It needs to get posted on that Doing Business portal. There has to be an open period. There has to be an evaluation period. all of those purchases tend to be over 10,000. So if they are soliciting quotes from a certified small business, disabled veteran, or social enterprise, they are required to get fewer quotes. They can do an informal process as long as there's like a robust number of businesses that are providing that service. So if it's, one business that can provide one type of service, then the SAP wouldn't necessarily apply. So part of making the SAP more viable is growing our list of certified vendors so that when we generate those bid lists, we can say, hey, there are 6 or 7 different social enterprises who can do what it is that you're asking. Like, let's try and use them more directly. It does provide a listing on that county certified database, which again is used to generate bid lists. It's used to buy in a lot of different ways. And then the 15-day prompt payment program. This is exclusively an LSBE process right now, meaning it is only accessible to small businesses. And we have been working very diligently with our partners over at ISC to change that. So we are looking at the prompt payment policy itself, and I believe we are going to circulate the terms. Yes. Okay. I see Regina saying yes. So we're going to circulate what those terms and conditions are on how to request prompt payment. The actual policy is still under review, and we have a couple more steps to get us to the finish line, but we want to expand that to our social enterprises, because the same reasoning behind why LSBEs can't float capital for 30 days, 45 days, being paid after their services have been rendered, is the same issues that we see our social enterprises and our CBOs specifically running into. So we want to try and reduce the time frame between when you're delivering services on behalf of the county and when you're getting paid for those services. So 15 days would be from an undisputed invoice that has different documentation review processes still in place that we're not departing from that, but we are very much streamlining the way the payment process needs to be recognized for our CVOs. Okay, perfect. So these are the eligibility requirements. We established this. This was the very first time that anything was done like this in the county was in 2016. And the ordinance was written to allow for a couple of different ways to qualify. So for-profit and nonprofit organizations, as long as you have either a principal place of business or a major office within the County of Los Angeles, and you meet any one of the below listed criteria. So you've been in operation a year, providing transitional jobs or employing a transitional workforce of at least 51%, including support services. So like workforce training, career building, apprenticeship programs, certification programs. You can be certified by B Corp or as a B Corporation by B Labs. You can be registered as a social benefit or social purpose corporation with the Secretary of State. You can be certified green if you are, a manufacturer, or you are, adopting green practices from a government agency. There's actually a bunch of different cities now that have signed on to provide green certification. We have not directly done that, but we do recognize that. So there's some reciprocity there. Or you're a business who has a social purpose or a common good as demonstrated through your business activities that you capture the impact of. So you do good, you track the good that you're doing, and you want to be able to do that good for the county. Those are the businesses and organizations we want to continue to uplift and work with. Sorry, thank you. So part of this process is a social impact assessment. This used to be a lot of back and forth via email with our team, and has since been onboarded into an online platform where we have centralized all of our certification applications, but it does require a little bit of a narrative. We do want to know what your social mission is. What are the programs, or how is it integrated into the business activities of the organization? And then how are you tracking that work? How are you measuring the efficacy of the programming that you're doing? It can be a lot of different types of documentation. Some of them are on the next slide. Perfect. They can be something that you've captured in your articles of organization for your social mission. If you're a nonprofit, that does make the application process a little bit faster. We do look at business plans or strategic plans for the organization. We do take a narrative of program overviews or project summaries that you've worked on. So if you're, working on specifically engaging in social purpose projects with the county, whether it's doing something through arts and culture to uplift local art and education within communities. That can be a summary that you would submit that would kind of fulfill the metrics of your programming. Infographic, data collection, and again, all of that should be with a brief narrative. We also look at things like financial reports if you have a spend by certain program type. So if you are, investing and reinvesting into your career pathways program, you can help us understand that. Okay, so this is kind of the bid price preference. I'm not going to walk through all of this, but essentially it calculates the 15% on the lowest bid amount and then applies it to any certified vendor that is participating on that solicitation. It can, and again, that's an artificial lowering of your bid price so that during the evaluation period, if you are the lowest responsive bidder, you've gotten the award, but you're still entitled to the full payment of your proposed price. So it doesn't reduce how much you're actually getting paid for the work that you're awarded to do. And I think we can, unless there's questions about this slide, we can kind of move past this.
Jessica, I don't know if it's exactly about this slide, but one of the things in the chat is examples of bids that nonprofit social enterprises have won. Or anything that
so formal bids, there are a ton here, and I think we'll have some testimonials and opportunity to kind of discuss that with the group at large. But we have a lot of social enterprises who are brought on to help us with our workforce development campaigns, especially we were previously WEDAX. So we were previously the Workforce Development Aging Community Services Department prior to being in DEO. And they have an ongoing, there are a couple of social enterprises that we've certified and we've kind of fast tracked the certification because they had ongoing work with providing workforce training, case management tracking. They did, social media outreach. We work with businesses like Help Good, who is it's actually a for-profit corporation who specializes in nonprofit and government initiatives and like branding around cultural and linguistically sensitive materials. They've been awarded multiple times and have been used across different county departments. Those are a couple that come to mind.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a quiz, even though it felt like it.
I feel like a little B- there for me, but that's okay.
I think also, Jessica, there was one more question in the chat from Denise on the price bid preference. The question was, is that annually?
Does it artificially lower their price bid annually? So it's only taken into account at the time of the award. So whenever you submit on a solicitation, there's that evaluation period that comes right after the close of the solicitation. If you're awarded, your price itself is going to be awarded at the proposed price that you initially had. So if you said, I can do this work for $185K a year, you're going to get paid $185K to do that work. That's not going to change year after year, depending on the length of your contract. Most contracts with the county tend to be 3 to 5 years. So it's really just a mechanism that's going to make you more attractive on the front end to help you get your foot in the door and get that award. Hey, Help Good, that's you guys. You're there. Yay. Does that help?
And Jessica, I wanted to provide just a couple of examples that came to mind too of other services that I've heard being awarded to CBOs was, for example, Public Works. They do graffiti removal. And so they have the Harbor Gang Alternatives, I think is the name of the agency. They're a CBO and a certified enterprise. They employ people from the community, hard to employ individuals. And so they have contracts with Public Works. Even some of the custodial contracts that I've heard of, they employ, hard to employ individuals. So they work with that group. So those are the type of contracts also that I've seen within other departments. It's not just social services departments or services, but other labor related services that we've heard, catch base and cleanup and stuff like that, because those organizations again employ, they qualify for the social enterprise because of the type of individuals that they employ and work with.
That's perfect, Lorena. Thank you so much. I mean, what the county buys and pays for is vast. And where you can plug in really depends on how creative you are in marketing your business and how well you put together your proposal. But the social enterprise application, if you are contributing to that social good component, whether it's hiring the transitional workforce or adopting really innovative practices that are going to uplift your community, we want to know about it. That's why that kind of catch-all criteria of having a published social mission statement is so broad. We did that very intentionally to have inclusivity as part of our lens when we're certifying businesses who could potentially work for the county or with the county, I should say.
And it looked like Christopher had a question, which it kind of answered. What would help be more attractive for the opportunity? So you talked a little bit about some of the things that you're looking for. So I feel like that was answered. There's also a question about, are these contracts connected to LAUSD?
So LAUSD is under the jurisdiction of LA City. So you do have to go through the LA City registration process. They don't necessarily have a certification program that is available to nonprofits the same way, but through our Procurement Technical Assistance Center, we can give you kind of some strategies in general on how to approach a procurement practice with the City of Los Angeles. And you'll see that there's a lot of overlap in what our county is looking for and what cities are looking for from their business and vendor community as well.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, I think we're ready to move on. All right, yeah, I want to quickly, so common procurement methods. This is really, really, this is a very high overview. This is like 10,000 view foot of procurement. There are a ton of different ways that the county buys. There are things like spot purchases. There are things like the SAP award. There are things like master agreements, which we'll kind of get into, and I actually want to get into that. So I'm not going to talk too heavily about common procurement methods right now, because right now I just want to make sure that you guys understand that there is a master agreement, a social enterprise agreement that is a great pathway to take advantage of. So let's go ahead and move past this. Perfect. Okay, so a master agreement. This is an ongoing agreement between the county and a list of pre-qualified vendors. The way you become a pre-qualified vendor is you are registered as an LA County vendor. If there's a requirement for certification for that master agreement, there is one social enterprise master agreement that does require that. And Christy Carr oversees the contracts division over at ISD, and it can really speak to master agreements much, much better than I can. But it is for ongoing services that are going to be as needed. So request for statement of qualifications lists out what are those different kind of components of service or activities that would be included for purchasing through that master agreement. And then what are the minimum requirements for vendors to meet to be able to say, hey, I can actually provide this aspect of the service that you've described in this RFSQ. So what you would do is put together a statement of qualifications. There is a bunch of documents that are called boilerplate that kind of describe what purpose the certifications serve in those MA contracts. And again, you can always get in touch with our department to be able to kind of walk you through what that master agreement process looks like. So I'm not going to do all of that right now because that would be just too much information. But it exists and we really want you guys to take advantage of it. And then next slide. Perfect. Okay, so the Social Enterprise Master Agreement Program is something that was hosted and developed by our Workforce Development Aging Community Services. It is now housed within the Department of Economic Opportunity. The MA really is, there's a couple of different aspects, but it did something really unique in the model that it established, and it created tiers for work. So one of the struggles with master agreements in general is that it creates a blanket requirement for the type of activities that we can buy through that agreement. And it creates, by that process, a blanket minimum vendor experience required to serve and can be considered pre-qualified. So by tiering the amount of work that our businesses are able to do by being onboarded onto the SEMA, that we are allowing them to not necessarily meet the same insurance requirements as an organization that would be better prepared to serve at $1 million or a higher threshold amount for services. That is something that we want to adopt in a couple of other different program types. And that's something that has been brought up in the Equity and Contracting Committee that we are all a part of. And again, it is a direct method for exclusively available for social enterprise certified firms, meaning that you're only on there with other organizations that have already gone through the certification process to get to a contract. So it is limited, it limits the pool of who you're competing against. It creates a much more narrow list of vendors that we can utilize. So we're going to be rotating through them more frequently. And then it also allows for different terms and conditions depending on where your organization is at within these two tiers, right? Lower insurance requirements for a smaller amount of work. So that's something that, again, I just wanted to draw attention to. This is a procurement method exclusively part of the benefits of a social enterprise master agreement. And then on top of that, as we go through the prompt payment program expansion, anytime that you're completing work and you're completing a work order, you also are submitting an invoice to prove that you completed that work and are potentially getting paid now in 15 days and a 2-week turnaround time from that undisputed invoice. So all of these together are kind of creating a package where our social enterprises are going to be better equipped to perform on a contract, and then also better resourced because we're paying you in a much shorter time frame. The simplified acquisition process, this was something I touched on really quickly. I'm going well over time, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of blow past this right now, but it's that process of just more direct purchases with fewer quotes required. So not necessarily having to go through the formal solicitation process. And it's exclusively for LSBs, DVBs, or social enterprises. This is where you apply. Again, it's online. I believe we might still have time for a quick tutorial of this, but if not, that is the certification website. It is where all of our certifications are now housed, and it's where that social impact assessment form is going to be housed as well. This is an overview of our upcoming ARP program. So I did want to really draw out a couple of things. There are some resources for small businesses to obtain free legal assistance through our legal aid program. We have a consolidated grants program, which is going to be released sometime later this fall. We have an economic mobility initiative, which has cohort training, mentorship, and a couple of other program developments. We have sidewalk vending, which is creating a pathway for a more formalized sidewalk vending program, permits, licensing, code compliant food carts, and then contracting opportunities. So this is, I know I've gone through all of these, and of course, all of these are available for all businesses that are present. The contracting opportunities with the CEO's office is something that it really lends itself well. We've kind of created a lot of work for ourselves through the ARP programming at the county, and we need partners. We need to contract a lot of these services out to different eligible organizations. So please sign up for the interest form on that link. You can also see all the different programs that are going to be released by the county. They're all in various states of, public presentation or offering. Some of these are still early and developmental, and we need to be able to bring on more social enterprises who are going to have the capacity to perform and deliver these things with us. So contracting opportunities is super important. Sign up for the interest form. There is an RFSQ on the Doing Business portal for ARP related work. Again, getting that certification as soon as possible is going to be really key in making you more competitive for those contracting opportunities. So that's my spiel. I'll get off the kind of my soapbox now. And I think this is all of our contact information listed. You can contact my email address. I'm so sorry, it has actually changed, but I will drop that in the chat as well. I believe Melinda also shared our office email. And then if Melinda or Marissa, can you guys also drop in our contact phone number? But you can go ahead and schedule an appointment with us either through that top link, which is the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. You can get to our certification portal and then our vendor registration site through the Doing Business portal. Certified.lacounty.gov does not work. Okay, it should work. I'm not sure if there's some technical difficulties, but I will.
I'll check the links. Don't worry about the links. We're going to be sending everything after the event as well. So whatever's in the chat, we're going to go through, and you'll be getting an email that lists everything that we've been talking about today.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. And then Regina, where are we? Should I share?
I'm wondering if we should take a minute and have Elizabeth talk about her experience. And then I'm wondering if we want to, why don't we do that? And then, well, we can decide on if you want to show any of the video, and we want to leave some time for the breakout. So we know there's a lot packed in here, you guys. It's recorded. You have links. We'll send you all the information so you don't have to memorize everything. The idea here is to make sure that you know what's available. So Elizabeth, since you've just gone through the process of applying to be a social enterprise and the whole certification piece, we thought it'd be interesting peer-to-peer to hear from you about your experience.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here to do that. And I can keep it really brief because I'm already a proselytizer on the benefits of this and especially for kind of traditional human service nonprofits. So I have a spiel, but my name's Elizabeth Berger and I'm the Development Director at Special Service for Groups, or SSG. So we're a multi-purpose human service nonprofit. And it's important to note in this context too, that we are actually mostly publicly funded. So we are not a social enterprise in the sort of common conception of maybe having a service that we sell, or we're straight up, social service provider. And what I've found, and we kind of stumbled into our certification because one of our partners at the county really recommended us to apply so we could get on the master agreement to be sure we were eligible for certain things, and quickly discovered that, as you saw from what Jessica walked through, it's a pretty straightforward process. It already has opened some doors for us. And again, if you take anything away from what I say, it's an option for organizations that might not think it's an option for, and that thus worth doing. Jessica shared really the main thing, if you're a nonprofit and your main business is advancing the common good, or not even a nonprofit, but that's it, you're eligible. And we had applied submitting our articles of incorporation, very brief narrative like Jessica summarized, a brochure that sort of was a very broad overview that illustrated our programs, our business that advances the common good, and then a chart of our metrics that we use to track our progress. It sounds like things have evolved a little, but for us, it wasn't the data itself. It was just a clear illustration of how we've defined success for ourselves. And we've actually been certified for a few years now, and we also have the master agreement. And since we have been on the master agreement, we have one work order through that, which is a very special program to do some anti-hate work with the county. which we were really, really glad to get. And that door was open for us because they needed to use the Social Enterprise Master Agreement to distribute that funding. We also have submitted for this preference in some proposals. And again, I'd like to mention that, you know, a lot of the references to bid price and things like that can be about specific kinds of contracts of the county. Whereas some of us who do social service are used to our request for proposals where we're submitting maybe fee for service bids or a line item budget or something a little bit less like we're selling a commodity. And we still have submitted for the preference and been glad to be able to do it. Example would be recently to the what was formerly known as WEDAX. We have a contract to do some services for caregivers of older adults, and we did qualify for a preference in the application, and it was a successful bid. Wish I could say a lot more about how much the preference affected our results, but I don't know about it, but I cannot speak to that. But I think we're confident that it's been worthwhile to have that open. I know we're going to talk a little more about prompt payment, which is not something I can testify to too much, but like I said, the biggest takeaway I want folks who aren't already certified to take from all of this is that if you are in doing some kind of social service or doing anything that fits that last definition that Jessica shared, it's worth looking at getting certified. It's worth looking at getting the Social Enterprise Master Agreement. It's probably going to have some benefit, and if nothing else, it's just going to leave a door open. And one thing I wanted to mention about the preference, I mentioned I can't tell you an exact example of us getting a better score because of it, but my understanding is a lot of the work that one of the things coming out of the equity and county contracting work is the county is going to be pushing more and more to make sure those preference programs are creating pathways for other nonprofits to be eligible for funding. So I think the level of importance of that preference is only going to increase. And that's my preaching for the day. I appreciate the chance to share, and I hope it's helpful to hear from an actual nonprofit service provider.
Thanks, Elizabeth. It's always great to hear from peers. And so Jessica, you want to do a quick update on what's happening with prompt payment, and then you guys, we will go into breakouts, so you'll have a chance to talk to each other and talk to county staff for a few minutes. So Jessica, I'll give it back to you, and then we'll do breakouts.
Okay, Regina, that sounds good. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for sharing the perspective and kind of the experience and overall kind of process that has worked, and you know what doesn't work. And that's what I want to hear today, and that's what the county wants to hear today is what didn't work before, what can we change, how do we improve it? I know that this document is going to be circulated, and I am going to try and share really quickly just the overview of what we used to send to our LSBEs. This is our prompt payment. This is a document that is very dated and is going to be updated because we're no longer even in that department. But essentially, this is the requirement process for our prompt payment program. This is our point of contact in the auditor controller who fields and acts as a liaison for our prompt payment recipients. So whenever there was an issue reported with not being paid within 15 days of an undisputed invoice, you would go to Christopher Wright on that. This is the actual changes that we're going to be making. I don't have the changed copies yet because those are not publicly available. We still have some work to do to get them there. But there are over 40 departments highlighted that are doing work. And it really speaks to having delays related to payments and what that means and the impact that that has on our small business community. And equally now we're looking at this through a lens of our CBOs are also experiencing that, especially in the wake of the pandemic. We are seeing an increase in need of services. We are seeing increases in costs for just general supplies to be operational. So all of that is something that we are working to amend in this prompt payment policy adjustment. And we want to expand this to services and 15, we're changing from 15 calendar days to 15 business days. So we give our folks some time to actually process this. And then it's going to relate back to, instead of being a local small business enterprise, it'll also include all of the preference program entities, which includes our GVBE vendors, our social enterprise vendors. Again, it explains and lays out what the responsibilities are to request that. But part of it is just getting the designation so that in our fiscal portal, we'll see that you are a certified vendor. So again, it all kind of ties back into making sure that you're certified, making sure that your certification continues to be active. One of the kind of caveats is this is that when you're processing invoices and you're not on an active certification, you will lose that benefit. So we do want to talk a little bit about the invoicing process. For commodities, it's really direct. You know, I've delivered a product, you've seen that product, you can attest to it, and I'll get paid within 15 days of that confirmation. There isn't really an outline on what that looks like here. And that's something that I think we can kind of touch base on in our smaller workout groups is, you know, what are some of the pitfalls that you've seen with invoicing? What are some of the challenges in capturing your own deliverables as it relates to submitting on an invoice to the county? The only other exemption is wherever state and federal law mandates that, you know, that isn't eligible. It's an ineligible type of purchase, but those are rare and far and few between. So I'll stop there, but I just wanted to emphasize that that 15-day period hasn't been expanded just yet to social enterprises, but we do want to make sure that we're accounting for what the experience has been and how we can improve this policy overall.